It's a bright, ordinary morning in Willow Creek, the kind of neighborhood where every lawn looks the same, every mailbox shines, and every smile hides a little gossip. Birds chirp, sprinklers hiss, and the HOA president, Richard Bradford, polishes his nameplate before stepping out of his SUV. Spotless, expensive, loud enough to announce he's here. Across the street, an old man in a faded cap struggles to wheel himself down a small wooden ramp built at his front door. The sound of the ramp creaking cuts through the morning silence. Bradford stops. His smile fades. He calls out, "Mr. Turner, that thing has to go. You know the community guidelines. No unsightly structures in front yards." The old man pauses. He looks up, calm eyes meeting Bradford's. "You mean my ramp?" Bradford crosses his arms. "Call it what you want. It violates the rules. You've got 48 hours to remove it, or you'll be fined daily." Turner's voice is quiet, but it lands heavy. "You'd rather I crawl up the stairs." For a split second, the whole street goes silent. A curtain moves behind a window. A neighbor's hose clicks off. Bradford smirks. "Rules are rules, Mr. Turner. We can't make exceptions, not even for you people." That line, "you people," lingers like smoke. Turner doesn't argue. He just wheels himself back up the ramp, slow and steady, and before closing the door, says softly, "You might want to rethink those words." Door shuts. Bradford shakes his head, muttering under his breath. This neighborhood used to have standards. He walks off, not noticing the small American flag sticker on Turner's mailbox, or the military service medal glinting faintly in the sunlight beside it. Nobody in Willow Creek knew who Mr. Turner really was, but when they found out, it was already too late. Beat of silence. A single sound breaks it, a phone dialing. Turner's tired voice. "Hey, sweetheart, it's time." The next morning, sunlight spills over Willow Creek's manicured lawns. A light breeze carries the smell of freshly cut grass and distant barbecues. But in one corner house, the one with the small handmade ramp, there's no laughter, no music. Only the steady click-click of wheels rolling across wood. Inside, James Turner, a 67-year-old retired Army engineer, finishes feeding his golden retriever. Buddy, his movements are careful, deliberate. He's used to doing things alone now, cooking, cleaning, and fixing what's broken, one hand at a time. On the kitchen wall, next to faded family photos, hangs a framed medal, Purple Heart, and a photo of a young soldier in uniform standing beside a smiling little girl holding his hand. The frame reads, "Come home safe, Daddy." James looks at it quietly, a soft ache in his eyes. Then his phone buzzes, caller ID. Sarah T. He smiles faintly, answering. "Morning, sweetheart. Dad, I got your voicemail." "What's going on?" "It's the HOA again. They don't like the ramp." A pause. "You mean the one that lets you get into your own house?" "Yeah, said it's an eyesore." There's silence on the line. Then her voice drops lower. "Did they give it to you in writing?" "They will," he says, sighing. "I'm not looking for trouble, Sarah. I just want peace." "Dad, you earned peace. Don't let anyone take that from you." James smiles sadly. "That's my lawyer talking." "Maybe," she replies. "But it's also your daughter." Later that day, the HOA holds its monthly meeting at the neighborhood clubhouse, a fancy building that looks more like a resort lobby than a place for complaints about mailboxes. Inside, about a dozen residents gather, sipping coffee, pretending not to gossip. Bradford stands at the podium like a politician, adjusting his tie. "Next item on the agenda," he announces, "unauthorized home modifications, specifically Mr. Turner's ramp." A few murmurs ripple through the room. One woman whispers, "He's a veteran, right? Shouldn't there be exceptions?" Bradford cuts her off sharply. "We treat everyone equally here. No favoritism. That's what keeps Willow Creek beautiful." He flashes a tight smile. "We'll issue the first fine tomorrow. Daily penalty until it's removed." His assistant Megan clicks her pen. Starting balance $250 per day. Gasps. Someone mutters, "That's insane." Bradford only shrugs. Rules are rules. But what he doesn't notice, through the clubhouse window, is a car parked quietly across the street. Inside it, Sarah Turner, James's daughter, sits in a crisp gray suit, recording the entire meeting on her phone. She exhales slowly, eyes burning with controlled anger. You picked the wrong man to bully, Mr. Bradford. Days turn into weeks. The sun rises over Willow Creek, but for James Turner, mornings now come with a different sound. Not birds, not the gentle creak of his ramp, but the sharp thunk of envelopes hitting his porch, HOA violation notices. Each one thicker than the last, each one stamped in bold red, pay immediately. He opens one and sighs. Duis 150 due. Another says failure to comply will result in legal action. He mutters under his breath, legal action. For a piece of wood. Buddy, his golden retriever, rests his head on James's lap as if understanding. James strokes his fur and forces a smile. We've fought tougher battles, boy. Meanwhile, across town, Sarah Turner sits in her office. Glass walls, files stacked neatly, degrees on the wall. She's not just any lawyer. She's a civil rights attorney specializing in ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act, cases. On her desk lies a folder titled Willow Creek Homeowners Association. Her paralegal leans in. You sure you want to take this personally? Sarah looks up from the paperwork. He's my father. And this isn't personal. It's federal. Back in Willow Creek, the HOA president Bradford walks the neighborhood like he owns it. Clipboard in hand, designer sunglasses gleaming. Two other board members trail behind, nodding obediently. They stop at James's house. Bradford snaps a photo of the ramp. Still there, he mutters. Add another fine. James is sitting quietly on his porch, a cup of coffee in hand. Morning, gentlemen, Bradford smirks. Morning, Mr. Turner. I assume you've read the latest notice? I did, James replies evenly. I assume you've read the Bill of Rights. Bradford's smile fades. You think being a veteran puts you above the rules? No, James says, eyes steady. But it means I know what freedom looks like, and this isn't it. Bradford scoffs, turning away. We'll see how free you feel when we take your house. He walks off, leaving James staring at the retreating figures. But for the first time, instead of frustration, there's something else in his eyes. Resolve. That evening, Sarah visits. She stands on the ramp, inspecting it carefully. Every nail, every board. It's perfectly safe, she says. Complies with ADA standards, even better than most public ones. They don't care about safety, James replies. They care about control, Sarah nods, her jaw tight. Then let's take control back. She takes out her phone and starts recording. State your name, Dad. James Turner. And you built this ramp for accessibility? Yes, after my injury. Did the HOA give you written permission denial? They didn't even respond. Sarah looks into the camera. Good, that's all I needed. Bradford is going through paperwork when his secretary walks in, holding an envelope. You got mail, certified, from Turner and Associates Law Group. He frowns, tearing it open. Inside, a federal complaint notice, filed under Violation of Title III, Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA. His face drains of color. Megan, his assistant, stammers, Sir, that's federal court jurisdiction. Bradford swallows hard. They wouldn't, she interrupts quietly. Sir, they already did. He looks out the window. Across the street, James Turner is on his porch, calm as ever, sipping his coffee. Their eyes meet for a brief moment. And in that silence, Bradford realizes, this isn't just about a ramp anymore. It's a war he just started with the wrong man. Sarah and James walk side by side, she in a sharp gray suit, him in his old army jacket, medals still pinned, his steps slow but steady with his cane. Journalists crowd the entrance, shouting questions. Mr. Turner, is it true your HOA fined you for a disability ramp? Miss Turner, are you seeking damages? Is this a personal vendetta? Sarah keeps her eyes ahead and replies calmly, it's not about revenge. It's about respect. The HOA's attorney, Mr. Langford, is a slick corporate lawyer with a gold tie and a smile that doesn't reach his eyes. Bradford sits behind him, nervous but pretending to be confident. Langford begins, Your Honor, the HOA has every right to enforce aesthetic uniformity. Mr. Turner knowingly violated community standards. Sarah rises. With due respect, Your Honor, my client didn't violate community standards. He violated their comfort zone, the courtroom murmurs. Sarah clicks her remote. A photo appears on the screen. James's ramp. Clean, sturdy, safe. This ramp, she continues, isn't a decoration. It's access. And access under federal law isn't optional. It's a right. She's grandstanding. Shut her down, Langford stands again. The HOA is not a government agency, Your Honor. Ada doesn't. Sarah cuts in smoothly, voice like steel. Actually, it does. Title III covers private entities that provide public access or shared residential spaces, and the HOA board maintains all shared sidewalks and entrances. She slides a thick binder onto the desk. Precedent case, Parker v. Ridgewood HOA, 2008. They tried the same defense. They lost, spectacularly. The judge raises an eyebrow. Miss Turner, are you suggesting the HOA's bylaws conflict with federal statute? Sarah nods. I'm not suggesting it, Your Honor. I'm proving it. She gestures. An assistant rolls in a TV screen showing footage from James's security camera. The video shows Bradford mocking James during the confrontation. You think being a veteran puts you above the rules? The courtroom goes silent. The judge's gaze hardens. Bradford sinks slightly in his seat. Later, outside the courthouse, the HOA board members gather, panic rising. We didn't know it was recorded. Can we settle? Bradford, what did you say to him that day? Bradford snaps. I said what needed to be said. He was defying the system. A board member mutters, and now the system's defying you. He sits upright, steady. Mr. Turner, Sarah begins gently, why didn't you remove the ramp when you were told to? James looks toward the jury, his voice calm but thick with emotion. Because I've already spent a lifetime climbing stairs I didn't belong on. This one was mine. A hush fills the courtroom. Even the judge lowers his pen. Sarah cross-examining Bradford. HOA members sweating under oath. Journalists outside reporting the case. Social media posts trending. Justice for the vet, finally, the verdict day. The judge delivers the decision. The court finds in favor of the plaintiff, Mr. Turner. The HOA is ordered to pay $500,000 in damages, issue a formal apology, and reconstruct all community sidewalks for ADA compliance. Sarah exhales. James grips his cane, not in exhaustion, but in relief. Across the room, Bradford sits motionless, staring ahead, his empire of control shattered by one man with quiet dignity. Outside, reporters swarm them again. James simply says, all I wanted was to come home in peace. Didn't think I'd have to fight another war to do it. Sarah puts a hand on his shoulder. But you won this one, Dad. He smiles softly. We both did. The same pristine lawns, the same elegant houses, but something's changed. There's construction everywhere. Sidewalks being rebuilt, ramps installed, workers measuring slopes and rails. In the distance, the HOA sign that once read, Perfection is our priority, is replaced with a new one. Access for all. Fresh paint on the walls. A new ramp gleaming in the morning sun. Wide, strong, and safe. Children from the neighborhood ride their bikes over it, laughing. James sits on his porch with a cup of coffee, his loyal dog resting by his feet. He's peaceful. The first real peace he's had in years. Sarah walks up, holding 2 envelopes. Dad got 2 letters today. One's from the court confirming payment. And the other, she smiles, is from Bradford. James raises an eyebrow. He finally learned to write an apology? Sarah hands him the envelope. Inside, a short typed note. Mr. Turner, I was wrong. I let pride blind me to basic humanity. The board has stepped down. I'm moving out. Bradford. James reads it quietly, then folds it. You know, sometimes losing is the only way people learn what really matters. Sarah nods. And sometimes standing up once teaches a whole neighborhood to stand taller. A teenage boy installs a small ramp for his grandmother's house. A veteran community center posts a sign, Accessibility Matters. Local news headlines flash, HOA ordered to overhaul discriminatory rules. Veteran wins case. Inspires national reform. Now it's open to everyone, kids, seniors, people with mobility aids. Laughter fills the air. A volunteer thanks James publicly for reminding us what real community means. Sarah watches him, proud, emotional. You never stopped fighting, did you? James smiles faintly. When you've fought real wars, sweetheart? These ones don't scare you. James and Sarah stand by the rebuilt sidewalk. The golden light hits their faces. Slow piano music plays softly in the background. James looks out toward the street. The camera lingers as he says, "You can break a man's rules, but never his spirit." Sarah replies, "Especially when he taught his daughter to carry it forward." They smile, father and daughter, framed by the setting sun. Closing narration, moral voiceover. When rules forget compassion, justice reminds them why they exist. One man's ramp became a symbol, not of defiance but of dignity, because sometimes the smallest step can change everything. The streets are calm now. Porch lights glow softly. We see James locking his door, his ramp behind him shining under the moonlight. He pauses for a moment, looks back. A faint smile crosses his face. For months they called him stubborn. For weeks they called him wrong. But tonight, they call him something else. Right. News broadcast playing faintly on a living room TV. Anchor voice. Veterans' legal win sparks national debate. Communities across the country are rewriting their HOA rules. A brief montage shows different people watching the same clip. An elderly woman, a young man in a wheelchair, a small-town mayor, all inspired. Back to James and Sarah, sitting by the ramp, looking at the night sky. Bro, you ever think this all happened for a reason? James, maybe. Maybe the fight was never just about me walking through my own door. It was about opening a few others, too. This time, the ramp shines as a symbol, not of rebellion, but of change. Sometimes heroes don't wear medals or uniforms. Sometimes they just build a ramp, and when the world laughs, they stand taller. Pause. This story isn't about revenge. It's about respect. Because kindness isn't a rule, it's a choice. If this story moved you, share it with someone who still believes one person can make a difference. And subscribe, because the next story will test how far compassion really goes.